Hello, and welcome to the Better Ottawa podcast. My name is Neil Saravanamutu. Maybe you know me from my Substack, the 613. Maybe you're someone that just cares about the city of Ottawa. Maybe you're a City Hall watcher and wonder why the City Hall is making the decisions that it is making. This podcast, Better Ottawa, is all about local issues. Now, I want to be clear, it's about local issues in Ottawa. This is not a podcast about Ottawa, the federal government. So if politics is your thing at the federal level, there's lots of great podcasts out there. You can listen to David Hurley. You can listen to Nate Erskine-Smith. You can listen to Althea Raj, Paul Wells. They're all super for looking at at Ottawa, the federal government. This is going to be about municipal issues. Now, why local? Simply because your municipal government has far more of an impact on our day-to-day life than we often consider. You know, open your front door. You want that pothole out on the street fixed. That's up to the municipal government. You think you go down to the bus stop, you wait for your bus, it shows up late, you end up getting to work late. Again, that is a responsibility of the local government. Whether we're stuck in traffic, whether we have a home that we can afford, whether our kids can even get into swimming lessons. These are all issues that are deeply affected by our city hall. And on top of it, cities across the country, and particularly in Ottawa, spend an awful lot of money. So in the case of the city of Ottawa, your local government is spending about $5 billion a year. That's billion with a B. And if you think about it, that works out to about $5,000 for each and every resident of Ottawa. So a lot of money is being spent, but what I've seen is there's not a lot of scrutiny over that spending. Now, of course, the auditors, the evaluators, all those usual functions are there. And so I'm not suggesting for a minute that there's anything improper going on. But what I am saying is that there's not a lot of external eyes on our spending. And so the questions around value for money are often just not asked and therefore not answered. But that's what we want to look at in this Better Ottawa podcast. We're going to be looking at how our city can work as well as it can and what it can be done to improve it. So I want to tell you about who I am for those that don't know me and why my interest is in starting this podcast. I am an economist by training. I am a director at City Shapes. I worked in the federal government for many years at the Department of Finance Canada. So I worked on international and federal public finance for a very long time. I went to the G20 and I was the chief economist for the Global Infrastructure Hub. Now I spend a lot of my time as a public advocate. What that means is that I advocate in what I think is the public interest at Ottawa City Hall. I'm there quite frequently, either addressing committees or meeting with councillors and sharing what I think is a smart way forward. I am someone that grew up in this town, care deeply about it, see its tremendous potential, and just want to do everything that I can do to help us realize that potential. So let me turn now to what this podcast is going to be all about. First of all, there are going to be a number of long form interviews. So we're going to take one issue. We're going to look at it in depth with a guest. An example would be the sprung structures. People have heard about those, these tents that are being proposed in Nepean to house asylum seekers to Canada. Is this the right way to go about it? What are the pros and cons of sprung tents? What are the other ways that we could be addressing this issue? What are the financial implications of all this? That's one of the issues that we're going to be going into in detail fairly soon because people care about this. Another issue will be Lansdowne. Again, how much is Lansdowne going to cost? What are we going to get for it compared to what we currently have? How much is it going to cost taxpayers? What could be the ultimate full price of this for us? These are issues that are not being talked about in great detail. They're not something that City Hall has been proactive in addressing. And so it's up to residents to make sure that they get their airtime. A third issue that we will be addressing fairly quickly, to no one's surprise, is about transit. I don't need to tell you that most people in Ottawa think that transit is a system that barely functions. I tried to take it recently and it was 5 times as long to go by bus as it would have been by car. In fact, it was twice as long to take a bus as it turned out to be to ride a bicycle. That's the transit system we have. But rather than dwell on the past, I want to ask, how do we go about fixing this system? How do we turn OC Transpo from a last choice system into a good choice system? There's real solutions out there. We can turn the system around. We just have to make sure that the right voices are being brought to the table. We're going to have some of those discussions here in the Better Ottawa podcast. Now, the second element of the podcast that I think is going to be of a real interest to a lot of you is we are going to bring together a municipal panel to talk about the events going on in the city. We'll do that on a regular basis. We have a couple of people lined up who you're going to be really excited to hear from. I'm not going to tell you who they are today, but we'll be announcing that shortly. But these are people with a lot of experience in City Hall, a lot of insights into why things happen and what could be improved. People with a great contact base. So we're going to get a fascinating discussion about from our municipal panel. That's going to be the second element of the podcast. I want to talk about when we're going to launch. So we're starting right now. This is a soft launch that we're going to be doing over a couple of weeks to make sure that all of our technology works, make sure that our systems are in place and operating smoothly. We're going to do our real launch in March. So stay tuned for that. You can learn more at betterottawa.ca. And I'm looking forward to reconnecting with you shortly. Thanks.